Good afternoon, everybody. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. As an explorationist, as an entrepreneur, and as an investor, you want to own in your life one time or another a chance at being part of one of the largest mines being found in the world. And we represent two opportunities, one in northern Canada that we've worked on for the last 4 years, and one in Peru that's recently got a lot of attention, not just from investors, our own geologists, but from some of the largest companies in the world. So today I'm going to take you through the stage falling apart. No, I'll take you through the opportunities that we have in front of us. I'm going to show you some rare things that juniors don't get a chance to endure, such as internal sources of funding, as we get ready to drill these major opportunities. That being said, I most certainly will be making forward-looking statements. That goes with all great exploration projects, and we'll give you a chance to understand how confident we really are. So we have a 7-project portfolio. 2 of these projects now stand up as flagship projects, one being Committee Bay, where we spent over $80 million to date, over $50 million to date, and then Sombrero, which has finally come to a drill-ready stage for the first time ever. Nobody's ever drilled it before. If you were to differentiate Auryn between any exploration company in this entire business, even globally, it's the scale that we're going after and the potential grade that goes with that. And lastly, we've done this twice before. Those of you who don't know us, we've had some great successes. We found a 5 million ounce gold deposit from zero. We sold a high quality exploration project for $205 million in the middle of the bear market. And what we did as a team is we strengthened ourselves technically, as you'll see here shortly, and we went after bigger projects, and that's what we have today. So our capital structure, 90 million shares out. We own 15% of it as management. We've been very active buyers of our shares in the open market at various prices, as high as $3.70 per share myself personally. That certainly wasn't driven by supporting the stock. I think we have a big deposit. I was being greedy, and I'll continue to do so. Goldcorp has made 3 investments totaling $40 million to date. Their initial investment was about $3.67 Canadian per share. We trade around $1.25 per share today, which will address that opportunity towards the end of my presentation and how misvalued we are to what we have going on for us right now. No major financial obligations, the ability to sell assets, which I'll touch on shortly as well, and we've reduced our burn rate by $1 million from $4 to $3 million a year. We did this primarily by reducing our exploration from 7 projects down to 2 main ones, which are going to deliver the most for ourselves and shareholders. Our management team, I won't go into too much detail, except for I'll speak for our track record. We've raised over $600 million since 2005 for the companies you see on the right-hand side of the page here. Keegan became a producing mine where we found 5 million ounces of gold. Caden we sold to Agnico Eagle. And Auryn, we've undertaken one of the most aggressive exploration efforts that's being done as a junior in the last 4 years with our $85 million worth of expenditures in the field. We're led by 2 incredible geologists, Michael Henriksen, former global structural geologist from Newmont. He's our chief geologist as well as our COO, and his partner Dave Smithson, who is a global mapper from Newmont. When they both worked there, they worked around some brilliant mines from Newmont, and they've also had a knack to go and find other really impressive disciplines. So everyone on this page is either formerly Newmont or they're world experts in their own specialty. It's a very deep technical team. This allows us to produce a really high quality level of data, and if we have the right assets, which we do, give us a really good opportunity to find a major discovery. So the portfolio looks like this. Committee Bay is the big flagship in Canada. Some really exciting developments that no one has really heard about till this conference, and I'll show those shortly. And in Peru, Sombrero is the one we're focusing on. There's 2 assets, Huillacoyo, it's a small oxide deposit in southern Peru, and Homestake Ridge in BC that we would consider selling if we saw the right price or the right opportunity. Discussions are very mature on Huillacoyo, but we're price contingent. But these are the 2 potential sources of funding that could give us 1 to 4 years of working capital. So Peru, why Peru? Everything there seems to be really big. A gentleman by the name of Miguel Cardozo, he found the Yanacocha mine for Newmont. When it was a silver deposit, he discovered it as a gold deposit. It's a 60 million ounce deposit. It's the largest epithermal deposit on the planet. Miguel had a portfolio of projects that he believed in for quite some time, and he ran out of money in his own junior in the last bear market. And that's where we came in with a tremendous amount of financial capability and some really smart geologists. But one of Miguel's dream projects was Sombrero. This is what we're going to talk most about today. It sits on this belt, which hosts one of Peru's largest mines called Las Bambas. There's Tintaya, which used to be owned by BHP. It was BHP's most profitable mine, and a series of others, major porphyry deposits. On this belt, in the image on the left, you're seeing this green color. That's representing volcanic cover. This is where the opportunity comes from. Nobody explored on the left side of the belt because there was cover over the rocks. You couldn't see the rocks. On the yellow side of the belt, you can see all the rocks are outcropping, and that's where the mines were most obviously found. We're not showing you all the claims on the right side. We're showing you the major mining companies that are present. But if I showed you all the claims, you couldn't stake a claim on the right side of that white dotted line. We're being pathfinders here, and the window of mineralization that attracted all of us was this one right here. So you're looking at moderate topography. There's a truck and a person that you can barely see. We're pointing to it, some arrows, you get a chance for the scale. You're seeing multi-gram gold, multi% copper. This is an explorationist dream. High-grade gold, high-grade copper. You're only at 3,900 meters elevation. And I think the government was foreshadowing for us. Since we've been there, they built high-tension power lines on our project. The roads, the high-tension power lines, the moderate elevation, and the high grade all leads to profitability. Not only does this have a chance to be one of the biggest mines being found in Peru, but it has a chance to be a very profitable one. When we got there, we had 4,500 hectares in size. We slowly started to do some exploration. We saw a lot more outcropping copper and gold. We started to increase the land position in 2016, 2017, and then we said, look, we think we're on to a major district. We don't just want another Las Bambas, we want the whole belt next door, and we screened 7,000 square kilometers. If I showed you the actual copper overlay of gold that we've sampled there, it overlaps perfectly. So everything in that end land position is covered with copper and gold in assay results from stream sediments. So what we've done to date, we've worked in the black dotted box there, where the white boxes are pointing to Sombrero, Maine. That's where all the work has happened. Each star that you see here, there's 5 of them, represent a major center, something that could create 10 times our current value in independent flagship discovery. But the only place we have permits to go so far is in Sombrero, Maine. I'll point out one of the best trenches we've done so far. It's 109 meters of 0.7% copper and gold. We've trenched up to nearly 200 grams gold, up to 16% copper. The metal budget is really big. The widths are being seen at surface in these small windows of outcropping that we're getting access to. This is a geology slide. What the gentlemen are doing here is something very important. They're taking all the rocks, and on the image on the right, they're showing you from surface, if you took a slice, these are all the rocks that are occurring that we're seeing where we're finding mineralization. We list our targets, Sombrero, Neok, Good Lucky, Totora. Right of that, we're showing you all the major mines in the same type of rocks next door. So we're not just analogous to Las Bambas, we're analogous to all the major deposits next door on the belt, with the main difference being we're copper gold versus copper molybdenum, which is what they are. Here's a map showing Las Bambas on the right and ourselves on the left. We do have a map where we've stripped off all the green cover, and that one's not with me today, but it's going to come out soon. But if you look to the right and you see those big plink blotches, you're looking at porphyry. The red color is skarn. 60% of the Las Bambas deposit occurs in the skarn. 40% occurs in the porphyry. We have an abundance of both porphyry and skarn, which I'll show you here just in a minute. And those of you who don't know what Las Bambas is about, it's 1.7 billion tons of 0.6% copper moly equivalent. That's equivalent to a 50 million ounce gold deposit. So yes, we're looking for something the size of a 50 million ounce gold deposit. This map here, it's even more fun on the technical side, but I'll explain it real simply. The image on the left is showing you chargeability. When you put an electric current into the ground, it will bounce off of copper, gold, or pyrite. These are called sulfides. Wherever you see the pink blotches, those are spectacular results from that type of a study. On the right, we're showing you magnetics, showing you conductivity. If you overlap these two together, they match perfectly. This is a very big check mark towards us, pitching you that there could be skarns and porphyry deposits here. Now we're looking at an actual plan view on the left. The top left corner, everything in red is skarn. Everything in yellow is endoskarn, and there's also porphyry there. Remember what I said about Las Bambas. 60% of their 1.7 billion tons of grade or value occurs in the skarn. We have in our first targets 7.5 kilometers of red skarn to go test. And then if you look on the right, we've done an actual 3D vision to show you exactly what it looks like, and it's all flat lying. It's a lot cheaper to mine a flat lying deposit than it is to mine a vertical one. So another massive check mark for us. Moving ahead to something we all would understand, this is the side of a cliff showing us what might exist under the surface. You're seeing a rusty colored skarn body in the middle of the cliff. Those red circles are mining adits where they were mining high grade copper. Exciting. We're standing on a lot of copper gold mineralization where we're going to drill. We're looking a few kilometers north. We're seeing mining adits subsurface in the middle of this cliff. But look at the top of the hill, what we've sampled. 0.3 to 5 grams gold. 0.5 to 4% copper. The numbers are spectacular. If you look at where we've done our work to date, which is not here, we have all the same numbers, but we're on the top side. And you can also notice the volcanic cover in green, a very thin layer. If this river did not erode this cliff, nobody would have ever seen this deposit potentially being here. At the bottom of this cliff is something called bornite. It's a metal associated highly with the high-grade copper. That's 400 meters from the surface to the bottom that the mineralization continues. So it gives us a lot of confidence when I talk about what we're doing here, that we're going to see a 400 meters potential vertical mineralization, incredible high-grade copper and gold. It's happening from Mother Nature right next door. Now this one, Totora, we've now gone about 25 kilometers north of where we're going to drill first. We found 50 meters of porphyry outcropping at surface that's never been drilled or sampled before. Las Bambas is next door. Las Chancas, Tintaya, some of Peru's largest mines are next door. How are we the first people ever to come here and see this? Spectacular grades, 0.2 to 5 grams gold, 1 to 3% copper. This is just a little bit of outcrop that should have been drilled by several companies before us. This is our opportunity, another major center that could exist. Now, I'm not going to give the actual justice to this presentation on Sombrero, but we have recently published a video on YouTube. It's also on our website under the Sombrero page. You can listen to our geologist very eloquently show you where the next largest mine in the world might be getting found. It's only 15 minutes long, and it's very elaborate. Moving up to Committee Bay. Committee Bay is a project that we've been to 4 times. Those of you who have been investors, those of you who don't know about us, it's a 300 kilometer long greenstone belt with gold from one end to the other. We've taken 400,000 till samples along those 300 kilometers. That's a lot of data off this belt. We've drilled about 185 holes. And every year that we came back and we didn't have a major discovery hole, a lot of people were disappointed. Our share price would suffer. I got more excited because we got closer each time. And we're now going to show you here just in a couple slides of how close we really got. 95% of the belt is covered by glacial till. Rocks are covered by dirt that glaciers moved over. It's not easy. If it was, we wouldn't have this project. There'd be several mines along this belt well before us. We spent a lot of money. We collected a lot of data, but we just brought in machine learning, AI platform. We developed, or one of our consultants developed it for us. And when you talk about a lot of data, that's going to be the biggest key in any AI platform that exists. Before I go into that though, this is what we did last year. The big pink line or purplish line you see there where those dotted circles are on, that's a big shear zone. Rocks shearing against each other. Ice is moving from the bottom of the image to the top. Those are triangles of red and pink, and those are boulders and till samples with gold shedding off the big structure. Where do you go on the 20-kilometer structure was the big multi-billion-dollar question. Last year we drilled a hole where it says new target area 1 just above it, and we continued to drill 15 holes. With the best hole we drilled, we're showing you the image of what it looked like as the furthest, most southern hole on that shear zone. We drilled 13 meters at 1.5 grams. We said to you and everybody that we're on the edge of a system. I've seen the actual preliminary AI platform that is actually reviewed Committee Bay data, all this data here, and its target happens to be the same target we thought were on the edge of the system from the big signature right in the middle underneath Shamrock. That's what the AI platform chose as well. Down at Kalulik, we drilled a hole 45 meters of half a gram. Everyone's like, why is that exciting? It's low grade. It's not exciting, but when you look at our Three Bluffs deposit, which is 1.2 million ounces of 8 grams per ton, there's several 45 meters of half a gram around it. What you'll see in February is our targeting. We were apparently, according to the AI platform, 750 meters away from where we should have been, and the AI platform did not know about that hole that we drilled last year. So let's talk a little bit about how simple this is to make it for everybody. Data collection. We've got about 200 drill holes along the entire belt. We've got copious amounts of structural geophysical data. We've got over 400,000 till samples. We put that into a computer. It's using the same neural network as Google, Facebook, and Netflix. So the engine is the same one they use for their AI platforms, but we're applying geoscientific inputs. And then we come out with our targeting. Our targeting is driven by numbers. Numbers are unbiased. We've ground truth all the data we've put into here. When we look at Three Bluffs, we took 1/3 of Three Bluffs high grade and we taught the computer how that was found, and we challenged it to find the other 2/3 of the high grade at Three Bluffs. It did so with a 99% accuracy. Right now, and you'll see this in February, there's a major expansion to Three Bluffs. The targets that we said on the previous slide here that are substantial, especially the oval in the middle of the page at Shamrock, those are coincident with what the AI platform is saying. We're going to use that as a complement to what we're going to go and drill. We're going to spend $5 million this summer drilling 10,000 meters with the reliance of unbiased data from the computers. Homestake Ridge in BC, those of you who are not familiar with, it's about 1.2 million ounces of 7 grams per ton gold silver equivalent. This is about 500,000 ounces more than the recent IDM asset that was sold to Ascot Mining for $45 million. Not saying we're worth $45 million. I'll let you do the assumption, but they were more advanced than we are, although we're not far behind with indicated resources in most of our deposit. This is a spectacular high-grade project. There's a lot of parties interested in it. Again, we're price contingent if we sell this later in the year. So what you're going to see in news from us, drilling is going to be June, July for both projects at the same time. We're permitting at Sombrero. You're going to see a lot of trenching come out of targets with really high grade copper and gold, and that's going to resume in February of this year. You're going to see the AI platform come to life in a press release with all the targets that it has chosen and the rationale behind them combined with our targeting for Committee Bay. Committee Bay is going to be reborn, not just where we're targeting, but the entire 300 kilometers of gold on that belt comes back into an opportunity for us. So what's different from what you've experienced as a shareholder or just in our company in the last few years? We're now down to 2 flagship projects. They're both drill ready. The heavy expending and the time has been passed. Now we're ready to go. We're ready to turn drills. Just a few more trenches out of future targets of Sombrero to keep us very active. No more seasonality. Every year we went to Committee Bay, we traded up to $4 per share. We traded up to $3.75 per share before we drilled. And then we would sell off in the fall. Even if we hit a good hole, we'd probably sell off. Once Sombrero comes online, the drill doesn't stop turning for 2 years. That's how long Sombrero will take to drill those 5 major centers. So we'll have non-stop drilling ability for 2 years, no more seasonality. And then lastly, the machine learning, I promise you, it's a major revelation. You hear about it around the industry with the major mining companies. What the gentlemen have done here is spectacular, and you'll see that soon coming up in February. And again, drilling is optional. If gold goes down $200 an ounce, our burn rate, everything shrinks. We don't have to drill this year if we don't want to. Knowing us, we most certainly want to, and if we have internal funding, we would certainly take on that. So my last slide, we're well covered by about 8 analysts, I believe, on this page. I'm going to draw a little bit of reminiscence of our share price performance in our previous company, which we sold to Agnico. If you followed Caden, we traded as high as $4 per share down to 67 cents a year before we sold it to Agnico Eagle. The lowest point in Caden's 4-year life was a year before the sale. Auryn is trading at its lowest point in 3.5 years. We're on the verge of 2 major asset sales. We're on the verge of 2 of the biggest exploration targets being drilled in the year and no need for future funding. If you like really big discoveries, if you like really big, robust share price returns, and if you like buying things at 3-year lows, we certainly offer that opportunity. Thank you very much.